And hello and welcome to Varsity Sports alongside Jason Andera. I am Jay Elson. Well, we have officially, or almost officially, made it through another regular season here, Jason. I'm ready for some high school hoops playoffs. How about you?
Oh, most definitely. Always love this time of year, and I think the players are ready too. Things are really heating up in the courts, and I can't wait to dive in, break it all down.
Yep, and that's exactly what we're going to do here over the next 30 minutes. But before we get too far into what's coming up, let's, of course, take a quick look at some of the big things that have happened already with another edition of High School Hoops Headlines. We'll start with a look at the top team in South Dakota Boys AA. O'Gorman took their number one ranking to Brookings last Friday night and tested it against the number 2 Bobcats. Matt Cartwright lit up the gym with 6 threes, and OG got the 62-48 win. That win put the Knights in command of the number 1 seed in District 1 AA over Brookings, but they faced another big test on Tuesday night when they went across town to play the Washington Warriors, who had won 4 straight AA games coming in. O'Gorman got another big night from Cartwright. He supplied 29 points as the Knights pulled out the 63-57 victory. Cartwright's been torrid here of late. He's 90 points in the last 5 calendar days. That included a 20-point game last Friday, a 41-point game against Lincoln on Saturday, and that was just a school record.
No big deal. Nothing.
That, and of course, added that 29-point effort last night against Washington.
A lot of big performances. Speaking of those big point totals, let's flash a few more crazy numbers from last week. Tate Vincent, also like Cartwright, heading to Augustana. He went crazy with 39 of his own, torched Garrison from three-point territory. He hit 9 trays in that one. By the way, his team, Sioux Valley, shooting 40% from beyond the arc this year. That is pretty good. Crazy. About 12 three-pointers per game. Another 39-point performance from Jacob Martin of Rapid City Stevens. He did that in a win, 72-65 over Aberdeen Central last Saturday. But the big total of the week goes to Josh McKinstry of Bison. This guy scored 51 points on senior night. 14 three-pointers against TOSPA Topa in an 88-44 win. McKinstry's 14 trays. That's believed to be a state record. Congrats to the senior, Josh.
It's hard to believe someone would have hit more than 14 anyway, crazy. Right? Well, on Tuesday night, Moody moved to the number 1 spot in the all-time scoring list in Class A North Dakota history. That's Anand Moody. He continues to torch nets across the states. He clipped A.J. Jacobson's record of 2002 career points and will continue to add to that total, of course, here over the next week or two.
Who knows how high that thing's going to end up by the time he's all done with. North Dakota's top team, Fargo Davies, is 1 game away from an undefeated regular season. They put their 19th win of the year on the board Tuesday night against Cheyenne. Matt Vate, 23 points, 7 assists. Jake Paper, another double-double, 13 and 12. And now they have to go to West Fargo to try for an unbeaten regular season. They do, however, already have the East Region's number 1 seed sewn up.
And they have earned it. Well, Tylee Irwin hit the 2,000-point plateau for her career last week against West Fargo Cheyenne. That came on February 10th. She's the second future Jackrabbit to hit the 2,000-point mark in her career.
Way to go, Tylee.
Safe to say SDSU fans probably pretty excited about this incoming class.
I would say so. How about a 3/4 court shot, Jay? Let's take a look at this. 1.77 seconds left in the half when the game is tied at 18. Watertown's Mateo Walder chucks this line drive, pierces the net, an incredible buzzer-beating 3-point basket. Yankton did come back in the second half, got a 43-35 win, but Mateo is going to remember this one forever. She said on her Twitter account that she has her fast-pitch career to thank for that one. So keep playing softball, ladies.
Yeah, you give yourself that versatility, right?
Love it.
Well-rounded athlete.
Great shot.
All right, well, stay tuned. We're going to preview the postseason outlook in all classes coming up a little bit later in the show. But first, we're going to introduce you to a future Coyote who can read minds. That's right. We'll explain that in this week's one-on-one after this.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
Welcome back. Chloe Lamb grew up playing sports year-round, but when you grow up in a basketball town and a basketball family, you might assume that basketball would take center stage. And your assumption would be right. Chloe's always loved hoops, and she continues reaching new levels of success year after year. Here's more with Chloe Lamb in this week's One-on-One.
5'9" senior, number 22,
Chloe has a skill that not many ball players have. She can read minds.
She sees things on the court that happen well before they happen.
Just because I have been with Coach Steffner for so long and can kind of read his mind.
She recognizes what people are trying to do against us defensively and can create for her teammates.
She also has that intuition with her friend and teammate Raquel Winches, who also is going on to play at the college level.
Being able to read what we're going to do next on the floor, and maybe if I know what cut she's going to make next, I can get it to her, or if she drives, she can kick it out to me, things like that. Just because we have played together for so long, we're able to do things like that.
That basketball IQ continues to build Chloe's confidence, which peaked last March as she helped her team capture a state title.
I think last year, winning those big games, winning against Ethan, that's a huge, huge game, especially because of the year before losing to them twice. But winning that state championship, that gives you a level of confidence that not a lot of girls have.
She kind of makes us go. She gets the ball to people when they're open, and just being that kind of teammate makes our team so good.
Her confidence continued to build when she decided to play basketball at the college level.
Maybe I can do this, and that was the ultimate goal, was to go to college and to play and to just improve my game and be able to compete at that higher level. I think that's always the goal for girls basketball, and I'm lucky enough to be able to reach that goal.
Chloe carefully weighed her college options before finally settling on South Dakota.
Once Coach Don came, I went to camp again and we talked some more. And after camp and having those conversations with her and the rest of the coaching staff, I knew that would be the right fit for me. It'll definitely push me, and I'm excited to have that opportunity for that challenge. I think that'll be what'll be the most fun, is just competing at that high of a level.
Chloe's high school career is now winding down, and the race for another state title is on the front burner. But beyond the wins and losses, both player and coach appreciate their time together.
Thank you to Coach Steffner. I definitely am very lucky to have him as a coach, and he kind of gives me that freedom, and he respects and trusts me to be able to kind of run what I need to on the floor. And I trust him, I got to listen to him and do what he says, but he still gives me that opportunity to kind of run the floor a little bit. So thanks to him.
She's just a great person. I've enjoyed coaching her. She's just been a joy to be around, to be in the gym, at practice, and in games. And as I said earlier, she's just become more confident, and I'm excited to finish this year. We'll miss her in the future, but I'm excited to see where her career goes when she goes to USD.
If you're Coach Steffner, you obviously it's not hard to see the value, because you just look at these numbers here and you see all that Chloe Lamb does for your team.
You know what? In the 21 points per game, really, she could probably score even more than that. But with Raquel Winches on the team doing a lot of the scoring, she picks up a lot of the other areas. 5.5 rebounds. The 6 assists per game, though, unbelievable the way she distributes the ball to her teammates, and the steals take care of themselves when you play that kind of defense that she knows how to play.
As great as her numbers are, Jason, she's also good in areas that aren't necessarily charted, right? Those hustle-type plays, the intangible things, and those are just a few of the things that her future head coach, Dawn Plitzwhite at South Dakota, love about Chloe Lamb.
Well, we're really excited about Chloe. She's got size and length on the perimeter. She can shoot it really, really well. She can move her feet and defend. She's a great passer, and that's really, really important. But what we were really sold on was when she came to our elite camp, and last year, while the Sanford College Sports Center was being built, we didn't have access to this facility, obviously, for camps. We were running camps in the dome, but we didn't have the wood floor. That was already gone. So our camp took place on that surface that's hard and the track surface, and here's Chloe diving on the floor after loose balls, getting after it, taking charges, and we realized not only is she a really talented kid, she's a very tough kid too.
Not a coach out there that's not going to love
that.
A player that wants to challenge themselves in that way defensively. All right, well, good stuff, Janny. Thank you for that. The state tournament field for Class B girls in North Dakota is going to be set by this weekend. We'll take a look at those region championship games that are coming up when we come back. And welcome back. Well, there are a lot of tournament schedules that are getting underway for high school basketball fans across the region. We're going to help you keep them all straight with a quick overview right now. And let's start with North Dakota's schedule, Jason. The first tournament is the one that's the furthest along at this point. Girls Class B, we're currently at 16 teams with one more night of basketball coming up Thursday night. That is going to decide who makes the state tournament. So let's break it down a little bit. What's the biggest storyline to this point?
In my mind, as usual, there's going to be some ranked teams that are left at home. And we saw that already on Tuesday night. Langdon missing out, losing to Harvey Wells County, who now faces North Star.
Congratulations.
So it was going to be tough for Langdon either way, but they're going to stay at home. In Region 6, Bishop Ryan already played Velva Sawyer on Tuesday, two very good teams. Bishop Ryan is already at home watching, and Rugby, another team receiving some votes. They lost on Tuesday to our Redeemers. So as usual, even Newtown was a team that was ranked 10th. They're left off. So as usual, you're going to have a few really good teams at home and some very hot teams in the state tournament.
But as we scan over Thursday's region championships, what's in particular sparks interest for you here?
I want to see Kindred. I want to see Kindred continue that undefeated season that they've started already. Park River, Fortville, Lincoln, and Thompson, two very good teams matching up in Grand Forks. That's going to be a fun one. Carrington has the team I think that could challenge North Star the most, so their launch in to see if they can continue what they've done to get things started. The defending champs, Shiloh Christian, are going to have a tough time just getting back playing against Grant County. That's going to be an excellent game. And then how about in Region 8, where you've got Watford City playing for a chance to get to the state tournament, and they get a home court advantage in the regions, which is not normally the case.
Works out kind of nice.
They like that.
For them. All right. Well, the Girls State B tournament, by the way, coming up March 2nd through the 4th at the Alara Center in Grand Forks. But you keep in mind the format here. The top 5 teams going to be seeded. Then a random draw will decide the 6 through 8 spots. Could create some interesting matchups. Meanwhile, on the boys' side, district tourneys set to get underway this Friday. Region scheduled for March 6th through the 9th, with the state's tournament scheduled for the following week in Minot.
Yeah, the boys' tournament, fun as always. We'll be breaking that more down next week when we know a little bit more about which teams are going to be there. We know Four Winds is trying to become the first team to repeat in Class B since Mayport CG did it back in 2003.
Tough thing to do. All right, well, most Class A teams finished up their regular seasons Tuesday night. However, there are a few more girls' games on Thursday. The East Region tournament set to begin with play-in games on Saturday, with the rest of the tourney running next Tuesday through Saturday. The West Region has play-in games on Saturday as well, with the meat of that tournament getting underway on March 2nd. The State A tournament will get underway the following Thursday in Bismarck. So let's break things down on the boys' side now. Jason, what are you looking forward to most when you look at these brackets?
I think the big story here is how will Fargo Davies do against some of that West competition. I mean, they've clearly been the best team in the EDC this year, but as you know, seedings always determine a lot as far as first-round matchups. How will they match up with some of those West teams? I think the Eagles will help themselves a lot if they can win the East Region tournament. Sometimes that doesn't matter as much. Just make the tournament. This year, I think they need to win it to try to avoid a matchup with Dickinson or Minot right away.
Sure. The girls A, well, that's been owned by Shanley for the last few years, but appears at least a decent chance that we're going to see a changing of the guard this year.
You know, Shanley's in it. They had a nice win on Tuesday, but if the EDC is any indication,
oh my goodness,
anything can happen, literally. It is just an unbelievable mess toward the top. And in the West, we kind of see the same thing. I mean, Century's lost twice now in the past couple of weeks, so no heavy favorite this year. We're going to have quite a race, both in the East and the West, just to make it to state. In the East, however, you're going to have to beat out a really good team. There's 5 teams right now who have legit title contenders, hopes in their future, and only 4 of those teams at the most
I know, right?
are going to make it.
You could finish just outside of winning the whole thing and not even make the state tournament.
Or you could win the East and not even make the state tournament as far as the regular season goes. So it's going to be a crazy week, and it's going to be fun to see how these teams pair out and see what happens coming up into the state tournament.
Yeah, looking forward to it very much. All right, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the South Dakota playoff picture with some special attention on Class A's new Sweet 16 format and how that could affect some teams. All right, time to take a look at the South Dakota playoff landscape now. Let's start with girls hoops in the biggest class. AA, District 1 AA will be tough with O'Gorman, Brookings, and Roosevelt all capable. But how about 2 AA, Jason?
Yeah.
All 5 teams have shown some pretty big-time talent. Harrisburg, Brandon Valley, Sioux Falls, Lincoln, Washington, and Yankton.
I think District 2 is going to end up being the most fun of them all. Even Yankton at that 5 playing a play-in game against Washington is going to be fun just to see who gets to test Harrisburg. So those are definitely the 2 regions I'm going to be watching.
All right, we're in Class A. We're into region play. Top seeds include Webster, Hamlin, Del Rapids, Lenox, McCook Central Montrose, McLaughlin, Littlewood, and St. Thomas more. What effect do you think this new Sweet 16 for? I mean, a lot of people are excited about it,
yeah.
but what effect do you expect it to have here?
Well, I think a lot of those 1 seeds, very good teams, but the teams like Belfouche, Todd County, even like a Tri-Valley, Madison, or Millbank, all have a shot now to earn a spot in that Sweet 16 format where in years past they wouldn't have a chance to make it. So I think some of those 1 seeds have to watch out, and some of those 2 seeds like Belfouche really could make a run.
Yeah, those days where the loaded districts, lose out in the whole thing, those are behind us, at least for now.
At least in Class
as long as this thing hangs around for a while. Class B, no Sweet 16 format as of yet for them, but you do need to win your district, win your region game to qualify. Which regions, with that in mind, are going to be the toughest?
Well, you got to point right to Region 3 because you have DeSmet, Sanborn Central, Woonsocket, 2 teams that have been in that top 5 all season long. Only one of those 2 teams get to make it, not to mention a Dubrook and a Castlewood who have been tough in that region as well. So I think those are the one district or region that you really have to pay attention to. And then how about Hanson and Ethan, both in the same district, let alone their region, and we all know how good Ethan has been this year. It's going to be tough for Hanson to make the tournament.
All right, well, games really get going next week when we find out who qualifies for the state tournament. Let's move to boys hoops, and in Class AA now, just like the girls, District 2 is going to be crazy. Brandon Valley, Washington, Lincoln, even Harrisburg and Yankton have beaten some good teams here of late.
Yeah, that could be a crazy district once again, and from top to bottom, that's the most competitive one we have.
Class A, same as the girls, as we look at it here. How does this Sweet 16 format again help, hurt? What's it do?
I think, honestly, we got to call this the Region 3 rule. I mean, the reason we put the Sweet 16 in is because Region 3 has had Del Rapids, Madison, Sioux Falls Christian, teams that have just been unbelievable year after year. This year, we're going to maybe have 2 of those teams instead of just 1 in the state tournament. But that's not the only region that's going to benefit. How about like a T area, Dakota Valley, Vermilion, all coming from Region 4. Even Assistant and Roncalli from Region 1. Sioux Valley, Clark Willow Lake, both having great years out of Region 2A. So we're going to see a lot of teams with a little better chance to get the best teams at the state tournament.
I can't wait. Personally, to see how this thing plays out, because I think this is the best move they've made in a while in terms of tournament seeding and things like that in the state of South Dakota. Well, Class B, what matchups here do you think are going to be the best?
Well, I mean, we see Langford and Warner, who went at it in the regular season. They're going to have to go at it in the postseason in District 2B. And then you've got Chester, Bridgewater, Emory, both coming out of Region 4. I think Bridgewater Emory has been unbeatable. Chester's got a really good team, though. So we're going to have a couple of heavyweight battles even before we get to the state tournament.
All right. Here's a look now at the schedule of state tournaments for South Dakota. The girls start March 9th through 11th. The B's in Huron, the A's in Brookings, and the following weekend, March 16th through the 18th, we have the boys B in Aberdeen, the boys A in Sioux Falls, and both the girls and boys AA in Rapid City. It's going to be a fun time of year, as it is every year, and we're looking forward to it. All right. EDC girls basketball has been all but impossible to predict this season. Jason talked about that a little bit earlier, but we are going to take a shot at one of the league's coin flip matchups. Another round of high school hoops pick'em coming up next.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
It is time for our final regular season edition of High School Hoops Pick'em, and as you look at the numbers, still really close. Too tough to call. Jandy with a slight lead, but we'll see if that lasts. Let's start this week. North Dakota girls. Fargo Davies at West Fargo in the EDC. It's anybody's guess, right?
It really is. I mean, Davies can definitely beat anybody, but West Fargo, to me, is the hottest team in the EDC right now. I love what Gabby DuBois has been doing along with Keely Moten. Give me the Packers.
I'm going to go Packers as well. They won a 1-point matchup. Of course they did. The first time these two teams met. Total toss-up here. I'm going with the home team. It's that simple. On the boys' side, same matchup. Davies at West Fargo.
If there's a team that could trip up Davies, it is West Fargo. This is a team that's been on a tear themselves. Davies not really playing for anything. I'm going to take West Fargo here with a little bit of an upset.
I'm going to go Davies. Eagles got the first one by 7 back in January. West Fargo has not lost since then. They're on a 9-game winning streak, as you said. They're red hot themselves. In South Dakota girls District 2 AA semis. Good matchup here, Lincoln and Brandon Valley.
I think Lincoln's turned a page and really looked like a state title contender in my eyes. This is a team that is on a mission. I think Anna Breck leads these guys to a first-round win.
Lincoln is playing its best. They won 5 straight to close the regular season. 4 of those were at home, though. This one on the road at Brandon Valley. I like the Lynx. On the boys' side, District 2 AA semis, Lincoln again, but this time with Washington.
You know what, Lincoln, they turned it up this time last year. They could do the same thing this
Doesn't
year.
it feel about the same? Yeah.
But I tell you what, Washington is playing really well. They came back in the fourth quarter against O'Gorman. I think they have the potential to be really good. Give me the Warriors.
Yeah, Warriors, they split the regular season series. Both the home teams won. Washington's been really good on their home floor before losing to O'Gorman the other night. So I still think Washington's going to get it done, and I think the home floor, again, a game that really kind of is a toss-up despite the records. I like Washington as well. Quickly, upset picks.
I'm going to go into the region finals. Our Redeemers, they're on a little bit of a roll. They'll make it. Morgan Olson will get them there past Velva Sawyer.
I'm going to go back to District 2 AA. We've talked about it a lot. I'm going to go boys' side. Harrisburg over Brandon Valley, and this would be a pretty significant upset, but here's why. The Tigers have won 6 of 7 to close the regular season. The Lynx have lost 4 of 6, so coaches talk about wanting to play their best ball at the end of the season. Harrisburg is doing that now.
Watch out, Lynx.
I think they're going to get themselves one step closer to the state tournament with an upset of the Lynx. All right, that is our time for this week. For Jason Andera, I'm Jay Elson. Enjoy the games, everybody. We'll see you back here next week.